Chapter 80. Jen. It's a good job that Karen the photographer is as nice as her sister Louise. After snapping shots of me running down the finish line towards Michael, she jumps back in the wedding car and then suggests that we stop off by the coast for some pictures with the bridesmaids. Katie's stressing about her scheduling, but when we stand on the cliff top with the sea stretching out behind us, she concedes that the photos will be worth the detour. Anyway, we've got to give Michael a chance to get ready, I reason. I don't want to arrive at the church before him. There's no chance of that now, Katie retorts. I've been following Adele's updates. They've arrived. Don't we need to set things up in the church? Dina asks. Dan sorted all that, Katie says. OK, I take a deep breath. Let's go then. Driving through the streets in a wedding car, you get a lot of waves and attention. I feel like royalty as I put my veil over my face and grab Katie's hand to steady my nerves. This is it. After all the planning and dreaming, we're finally pulling up outside the church, and this is my wedding day. The sun is warming me through the car window, and there are white, gold and green ribbons tied to the gates. Dad parks his car alongside us, and Dina and Claire step out and check each other's dresses. Karen hops out and starts snapping away. I'm going to go in with them, Katie tells me. I'll come out to signal when it's time. I nod, and we look at each other for a moment, then she flings her arms around me. I love you, she says. I'm so proud of you. I wipe the tears from the corner of my eyes, hoping that I don't have a complete emotional meltdown before I've even stepped inside the church. I watch as she leads the girls inside the church doors. Dad stands by the car door, and in truth, I've barely seen him all day. He's not a talker, but he's always been there for me, even when I haven't been there for him. He turns to me and smiles, opening the car door and holding out his hand. I take it and step out onto the pavement, then I throw my arms around his neck and kiss his cheek. I love you, Dad. I love you too, he says, gently squeezing me back. You look as beautiful as your mum. I wish she was here, I say, and I can't stop the tears this time. She is, he says, clasping my hand tightly. Clinging to his arm, I walk down the path, the gold satin of my skirt shimmering in the spring sunlight. Inside the church door, the girls fuss over me, straightening my veil and smoothing imaginary creases. Ready? Katie whispers. I hear the piano and the beautiful, rich sound of the cello. Christina and her mum are playing Can't Help Falling in Love. Dina and Claire walk down the aisle first, followed by Katie. I look at Dad and smile. We step forwards together. Michael is standing by the altar next to Dan, and I watch the wave of relief pass over his face. All the frustrations, the maddening, overly ambitious life choices of the past few months melt away as we smile. Our eyes are locked, and everything else fades into the background. I love you, he breathes. It's one of those transcendent moments where everything is better than you imagined it could be. Aunt Chevy's church choir sing Be Thou My Vision in perfect harmony, the sound echoing around the stone walls and the arched ceiling. Steve leads us through the vows. I, Michael, take you, Jen, to be my wife. The way he says it makes my heart skip a beat. I'm holding my breath in light-headed rapture. I don't know how I managed to repeat my lines. To have and to hold, from this day forward, for better, for worse. We've certainly had a roller coaster of ups and downs to get to this point. In the end, though, I know that Michael means every word of these vows. His inability to break a promise is definitely a good thing when it comes to this, as he told me all those months ago. Not that I appreciated it then. In the presence of God, I make this vow. If I'd never met Michael, I would never have come into this church. I wouldn't have had any idea what the presence of God meant. There's still so much I don't understand, but I'm making this promise with absolute clarity on this. If our marriage is going to succeed, we have to keep on loving and forgiving each other. Today, it might be me forgiving Michael for running a marathon on our wedding day. Tonight, he'll have to forgive me for the choices I made in the past, because he waited and I didn't. But here we both are, wearing white and gold, and the dirt of the past has been replaced and redeemed. Dan brings the rings forward, and Steve gestures to Michael to take my mother's ring. I give you this ring. He slips the band of gold onto my finger. as a sign of our marriage. His eyes shine with love for me, and there's no hint of censure as I say to him, with my body I honour you. All that I am I give to you, and all that I have I share with you. Our hands are clasped together, both gold rings on, and I am no longer Jennifer Baker. I now pronounce you man and wife, Steve says with a broad grin. You may kiss the bride. Michael lifts the veil over my head. Our lips meet, and it feels like coming home. When we turn to the congregation, I can see everyone I love clapping and cheering for us. I even smile at David and Adele, who stands out like a flamingo among penguins in her pink dress and fascinator ensemble. I think I might need to sit down now, Michael says to me, smiling with clenched teeth. Even that part. There are so many precious and beautiful moments, but my favourite is when we go out to sign the register. Christina is playing again, and I sweep my dress into the side room, holding onto Michael's arm. He's limping slightly. Ezra and Heather follow us inside, and Heather flings her arms around Michael's neck, happy tears streaming down her cheeks. I step away slightly to give them space, and Ezra meets my eyes. His own are glistening with emotion. He smiles at me, then wraps his arms around me in a warm, strong hug. You look beautiful, he says. My heart melts. There's something about a wedding for sewing up a family more tightly with love and forgiveness, and as I finally have Aunt Sherry back in my life, it feels like this day has done more to restore wholeness than to just join me and Michael together. After the service, Michael leads me out to the car, with Karen right behind us. How about a small detour to our favourite place, he says. Bestwood. Maybe I'll get one of these pictures printed onto a huge canvas to hang in our living room, I reflect, as I feel the wind lift my veil out behind me like an elegant version of a windsock. With the ruins of the castle around us, I could be a Shakespearean heroine or a pre-Raphaelite angel. Hello there! The lady with a dog is waving at us. You got married then? Yes, Michael shouts back in delight. I love that man.